Greetings, today I am retrofitting heated seat elements into my Recaro shell seats. A couple of eagle-eyed viewers of a previous video I did, specifically the QI charging pocket, noticed that during that install I suddenly magically had heated seat buttons in my center console. So the ones I'm talking about are these right here. So before this button and this button didn't exist, these were just blanks. So I did in fact change this entire unit at that time. Whenever I had the whole center console out doing the charging pocket, I swapped my original stock climate control unit for this one. As far as this install goes, I'm not going to cover that. I will throw some links down below where you can go and see the whole dismantling and putting back together of the center console unit. It's pretty simple and it is just a straight swap. If you grab one of these, I'll put like a part number down below in the description box as well. It's literally just a couple of connections around the back, which are exactly the same on this one as they are on the stock one that I had. So like I say, just a straight swap out, and that of course gives us our heated seat buttons. Now these heated seat buttons are connected up to the system already, and there is like a little underneath both of the seats, around sort of that area underneath both seats, there is like a little box which is all actually connected up, even though it was not possible to spec heated seats in the RS whenever you got the shell seats. But it's really handy in the sense that everything is kind of already in place and we just need to basically get the elements and hook everything up. So that is the aim of this video today. I'm going to go through the process of dismantling parts of the seats that you need to dismantle in order to get the elements in. I'll show you what the elements are like, what way they go in, how they connect up, and how to get everything all done underneath the chair to add the heated seat option to your shell seated RS that Ford did not offer. So yes, first step is to remove one of the seat bases. In the car then you can see I've already got one of the seat bases out. There's pretty much no point in me filming myself doing it and trying to show you, because it's just going to be me in various awkward positions trying to get underneath to unscrew the little hex bolts. So now that it's out, I'm just going to sort of talk you through it. So if you can see here, the seat frame, we have a hole here, 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 and here. So the base is held on by 4 little hex bolts which look like this, and they are a 5mm hex. All 4 of them are the same, so it's essentially a case of just reaching underneath there and unscrewing each one of those, and then the only thing after that that is stopping the base from being removed is this cable right here has 3 of these like little Christmas tree plug things that are just like in the plastic base of the seat. So it's just a case of grabbing them, giving them a little bit of a yank, and they just come right off, and then after that the base can come right out. Right, here we are. This is the seat base, obviously, that has been removed from the car. If I flip it around, we can see a bit more easily the holes that we just removed are 4 screws from the Allen head screws. So I mean, that is literally it. You can see a sticker that's on here, date 2nd of December 2016. So yeah, pretty cool. So obviously having the base out, I can bring it inside into my house. I don't have to, you know, awkwardly do this part outside in the car. So what we need to do now is we need to get the cover off of the base, and then our element will sit in this section and this section here. The seat cover is attached to the seat in a couple of different ways. So out around the edge, it's like this sort of like tubular thing that's like clicked in all the way around. Then there's going to be like some clips along the inner seams, and then in these seams I believe they're Velcro. Basically there's multiple ways that it's attached here. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to go around the edge, and the place I'm going to start with that is underneath. So I'm just basically going to get underneath there and pry it out, and then like sort of go around the edge and pry it all out, and then that will be the first stage done to getting the cover off. There we go. That is the cover entirely off the base. So in this groove right here where my finger is, that is where, if I flip this around, on the cover all the way around, it's like, this is what I was talking about, the sort of tubular almost, it's not really tubular, it's just like a rubbery thing that's like clicked into that space. One thing to note though, the corners, especially at the front here, were like the hardest to get out. They were mega tight. There's these metal bits as well, and these have some really sharp teeth. I actually caught on one of them, cut my finger and everything. But yeah, not too bad really. You just gotta persevere and it will come off. Now, then once you get the edges off, what you will have noticed is there's some Velcro here, Velcro in this groove, Velcro in this groove, and then along the sides we have 1, 2, 3, 4 on each side of these little red clips. So they're kind of in a similar way. It's sort of like a rectangular section that is like clipped down into these. Now these are quite stiff and they are like sort of impregnated into the foam, but to get those loosened, what I used was this trim tool right here that has a really like sharp pointy end. What I did was I like sort of slid this in the side and then I sort of twisted it slightly, which pulled the two sides of the clip apart, and then at the same time as doing that I just pulled upwards on the cover and they eventually just popped out. So yeah, it's just a case of just going around the whole thing and removing all of those. You may have noticed whenever I took the cover off of the base that I had the split over here. Now this is indeed the base from the driver's side, and this splitting here is quite a common issue, and indeed a lot of people got their foam and indeed their cover replaced under warranty if they hassled their Ford dealership enough with a letter from Recaro, but I am out of warranty. So what I have done at the minute, I mean the options are either number one, do nothing. Number two, get a replacement foam myself, because I've been lucky enough that I haven't worn away the cover on this area, whereas a lot of people who did their complaints, they had worn this away and then the leathery part was rubbing on the plastic underneath and then the cover itself wore away, and that's how they knew that there was an issue. So option number two, getting the foam yourself. They cost in the region of £100, so I mean it's not that much money and I probably will do it eventually, but for the purposes of this I'm not going to do it. I'm going to try and extend the life of this foam as much as I can and save £100 in the process. So the first step of what I'm doing is I have already stuck this down. You can see it's not like flapping open anymore, using like this hardcore like carpet tape. It's reinforced, it's super sticky. Just put some underneath here and then just pushed it down, and now the foam is staying in place, whereas before this part was sort of like flapping over. So that will be okay. Once I get the cover on, you won't even notice that there's a split there. Then the other thing that I'm doing to extend the life of my foams is this being the driver's side base, I am putting this in the passenger side and I'm putting the passenger side base in the driver's side. So that means that the outer bolster is now going to become the inner bolster on the other side. So this isn't going to get worn anymore, being right beside the center console on the passenger side, and over on this side it's like brand new foam. So that is going to be awesome. It's almost like having brand new foams either side, but without spending a couple $100 doing it. So yes, just a really simple repair job for now, and then at some point down the line I will probably replace the foams and I might even replace the covers as well. But for now the next stage is to get onto our heating elements. To do this job fully, there are two heating elements that you need to get, and I will put the part numbers in the description box below. So this one right here, this is for the back of the seat. You can see it's got this like sort of cutaway here, that goes in the back of the seat, and then it has this cable with a single grey end. So obviously that's not the one we need right now. The one we do need right now is this one for the base. Okay, so this one has a cable that comes out and it has like this little box thing which I think should be able to slide onto something to keep it in place. It has a female grey connector, and then on the other end it has two more connectors. It has a blue and a green. Now this is the main hookup for the heated seats, so you could theoretically get some heated seats just doing the base element, all you would have to do is, do what we're doing right now, and then click these into place. You don't necessarily need to have this bit if you don't want to. This is like an add-on element, so once we have this in place, we have a male version of the grey, and that just like splices into there of the base element cables. But like I say, to do a proper full job, you do need to get both. This element is what we are getting onto our foam right now. So if I bring the seat back, the cable has to go at the back, and these sticky bits, which are like double-sided sticky tape, they stick to the foam. So what you should be able to see if I position it is we have a part for this area here, then we have a split to account for the Velcro bit, and then we have a bit for the rear, and then the cable kind of goes down the back like that. So we'll just line up our element and get it nice and even in the middle, stuck on. Now these little winglet things, I am going to put them, you can see that they sort of line up with these red things. I'm going to sort of line them up with the red things, and then I'm probably going to like push this down and stuff it in underneath, because we do of course need to get that like plastic clicky thing to go along there of the seat cover. But yeah, first thing is to get these two larger sections stuck down with the sticky tape. Alright, nice. Now I can get the cover back on. So it's just going to be a case of sort of fitting it roughly, and then getting these clips like these at the side, getting those clicked in, and of course pushing right down into the Velcro, and then finally getting it in out around the edge into that groove, which of course I'm expecting to be a pretty tight job. It was pretty tight getting it off, like I was saying, especially at these corners. But yeah, just gotta persevere and give it a good yank and get everything put back the way it was whenever we took it out of the car. Well, there we go. The cover is successfully back on. Looks great, and of course our elements are in there. We have our wiring harness for the heating elements coming out the back. So I'm just going to leave the base for now, and I'm going to go and concentrate on the back element, and then once that is in place, we'll get the seat base back in. Moving on then, now that we have the base sorted out, I'm going to try and get the element into a seat. So obviously you can see I'm around the back of it, because that is where I'm going to start trying to remove the cover. So I'm going to try and do this without removing the whole cover. If I had to remove the whole cover, I would start at the top. You pop these things off, a couple of screws, remove the plastic on the other side, and then you can start like peeling off the cover from the top. But to avoid all that hassle, I'm going to just try and start from the bottom, peel it up maybe about halfway. We only need to go up to about here, and then get the element stuck in, and then get the cover put back in place. So yes, down here is where I'm going to start, because we can actually feel the edge of the cover quite easily. So it's going to be the exact same job of like that sort of groove going all the way around. It's kind of like gripping in like that, so you're sort of like trying to bring it out the ways, up and over itself, or up and over the groove, I should say. There we go. So got it started there, as you can see. Try and poke around as much as I can, because the next part is, I think I can feel a bit of Velcro in there. But yeah, I think I might need to move into the front of the car. So around the front, this is where I've already unclipped it from around the back. So just sort of, you can see a bit of foam there possibly. Yeah. So there's a couple of flaps there of Velcro, and the other side will be the same. So once you get that Velcro bit undone, then we're back to like peeling out from our groove. Alright, so now that we have our edge peeled up, we can sort of peel back, and we can see in here, we're back to a bunch more of our little red clips. So it'll just be the same thing as before, our little pointy ended trim tool, getting it in there, prying them open and just popping them out. So I popped 3 of them, and I think that's enough because this, of course, is where we are going with our element, and that allows us to get right there to where we need to be. So I'll just pop the 3 on that side and then we can go and grab our element. So there we go, that's those clips off. That one kind of popped off at the same time as that one, no big deal. Just means we have a little bit more wiggle room. You can see there's a very distinct line here where we are putting our element underneath that. So without further ado, let's go and grab that element. So just laying it over here, you can see it's reasonably obvious where this one goes. We're just following this line, and then we have these sort of winglets again with a hole, and we have an extra bit of sticky stuff here. So that is going to have to go around the clip that's just right behind there on both sides. But apart from that, it's going to be pretty much a similar job to what we just did with the base. So removing the sticky back stuff, sticking it onto the foam, and that is that. Right then, so down at the bottom, this last bit of element, which we're not really going to be needing too much, just want to shove it and the cable like down, sort of pushing it towards the back seat area, kind of like over the frame. So then we'll stick these just right under here at the bottom of the foam. So that's it, kind of that wee bit of excess wrapped around the bottom of the foam. So then we just have our cable sticking out. So yeah, now I can go around the other side again and start getting the cover back on. So this bottom bit, we just need to have it, you know, pushed down a bit at the front as well. There's a bit of a flap, but we'll deal with that when we're, I mean, it's right at the very bottom where you don't even feel it or anything. So, but we will make sure that that's nice and flat. We didn't really affect the Velcro here, but we can give it a wee bit of a push. But then yes, otherwise it is just going to be a case of clicking this back into the red bits and then around the edges, much like we did earlier. So that is it, clicked in as much as possible. Just have to remember that with this lip, you kind of have to go all like sort of circle around, up and over, and then in. Clearly they never planned for anyone to, you know, put the elements in with these seat covers in particular, because like it is obviously blocking this part from clicking in where the cable is coming out. So I'm just going to get a knife and cut a little bit out of this just so that I can click this all the way in and it's, you know, not just sort of sitting poking out like that. There we go. I would say that is flipping perfect. What I did was, you know, I just cut some of the plastic off and tried to save like the sort of like carpety bit, so then that allows it to click in either side into the groove, but then it leaves a little bit of carpet to create like a little skirt around our cable, so it looks totally OEM, which is awesome. So the cable then, we are going to feed it under this rear bar of the frame here. Okay, so that's where that's going to live. Now we can actually get the seat base back and we can then click everything together as far as electronics. Alright then, let's briefly talk cable management. So the wire coming out the back of the base, there's a little circular Christmas tree clip which fits into a hole right here, just under this thing that sort of looks like a vent. Then our grey bit can click into a hole right there, as you can see, just like that. We need to now connect our blue and our green into the little patch panel thing that we have here. It's pretty tough to really show you like exactly where these two are plugging in, but basically they have little like notches on either side. One of them, the green one, they are like parallel, the blue one, they're offset, so these can only go into the patch panel slot in one direction, you know, they can only go in one slot. So if you line them up, you're going to need to sort of line them up both before you click them fully in, because they're both sort of joined together here. But then once you do, you just click them in. And in relation to the pink one, which is, like I say, hard to show you, but here the pink one, you've got the green like directly above it and then the blue right beside it. So it's going to be pretty similar on both sides. This is the passenger side or the left hand side of the car, but yeah, that is the elements plugged into our patch panel, so that means that they'll now get power whenever the button is pressed. Okay, then our little grey cable, we need to plug it into the female of the main cable and get our cable tidying done. It's such a tight space under there, there really wasn't much value in trying to film what I was doing. I ended up having to use a couple of cable ties just to aid in the cable management under there, and I think it is pretty bang on, so yeah. Alright, there we are, that is the base fully bolted in and finished. Alright then, last thing to do is a little test. So I am in the seat that I've just done the install on. I fired up the engine, so just press the button, boop. As you can see, the lights illuminate, and just have to wait for a second. Ooh, yeah. Yep, it's working. My back and my butt are warming up. That is very, very nice. Very pleasant indeed. So yes, that works, an absolute treat. Happy days. I'm very, very happy with that. Of course, it's a complete OEM look because it's literally Ford parts. The buttons are all Ford, the elements are, you can't even see them, and they all connect together like they were meant to be here. So it's absolutely fantastic now to have this. So I'm super duper happy with that, and I hope you like it too, and I hope you like this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please do like, share, and subscribe for more content to come very, very soon. Thank you once again. Goodbye.